Hello, one and all, and welcome to another Big News Wednesday. Hello, everyone out there in the audience, those of you watching this later, listening to the podcast, and most especially to Sharon Reed. Sharon, how's it going?
Going great. Love the t-shirt. Didn't get the memo. You just look powerful. Okay. The t-shirt's great. The power, it's just something different about, not that you're not powerful every time, every Wednesday, Big News Wednesday, but you just look like you have a command of the material and the
Thank
set.
you.
There it is.
I can assure you, I don't. But I'm glad that I have the appearance at least. This, of course, was a shirt that I think a lot of people in the audience know. Jordan Ewell gave to me. It was part of one of the campaigns he was involved in with LeVar Burton, fighting back against some of the book censorship. Next Wednesday, we'll coordinate on graphic tees or something.
I'll have to buy one.
Yeah, but anyway, very glad to have you here. We've got some interesting news, a new, I don't know if it's, I guess, kind of a scandal, sort of roiling the Trump administration. Weird that this is the thing that's causing so much panic, not like the war crimes, the covering up for sex predators and all of that, economic devastation, a crisis coming in health insurance premiums. It's the interview. But okay, I'll take it. And we're gonna get into it in just a little bit. And besides that, pretty sure we're gonna be at war in a day or so, maybe 2 days. But I think we're gonna be at war. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about that. Donald Trump trying to find something to get people back on his side, might do something good and reasonable for all the wrong reasons, but still something good. So we'll have that for you too, and a whole lot more besides. There might be a job waiting for you in Tech Force. We'll give you all the details. And we take a big step closer to the first major departure from the Trump administration, which could be coming at literally any minute. So that's all in the first hour. We got so much to talk about. Hit the like button, share the stream, send us your comments, your tweets, your super chats, and all that. But before we jump into everything, I just need to know, Sharon, are you ready to go?
Yes, that was riveting. The build up each time you tease something else, it just energized me. It lifted me up. It was as if I did an hour Pilates class and I'm still standing. I feel stronger, better.
I appreciate that. I wouldn't be. I let Sharon know, everyone. I hurt my shoulder plugging my mouse USB in before the show, so I don't think I'd make it through a Pilates class necessarily.
Yoga, you need yoga.
I don't think I can do yoga. No, I think I missed the ball even on pickleball. I think it would do me in, so it's probably not going to work. But anyway, yeah, we'll see. I can barely get through golf. That's where I'm at in terms of physical fitness. But
so young.
No, not really. But anyway, let's how is it physically possible hurting yourself with a USB? Well, to be clear, it was already hurt. I just twinged it even more. But let's go to the twinging happening to the Trump administration, starting off with this.
I wanted to ask you, Caroline, about the two-part series of articles in Vanity Fair on Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, and the president's inner circle. I mean, clearly there was a lot of cooperation between the White House and Vanity Fair on this, because there's numerous interviews that Susie Wiles had with the writer over the course of pretty much a year. Portraits were taken of his inner circle, including her, J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller. I mean, it looks like the White House was working hand in glove with Vanity Fair. What happened? What went wrong?
We're gonna get to Carolyn Leavitt's response in just a sec. I know everybody wants to know what she's gonna say. She showed up for this interview looking very natural, just a normal appearance and everything. But anyway, we're gonna get to her. The issue is that the White House is weirdly scrambling to deal with Susie Wiles' major interview with Vanity Fair. We talked about some of the biggest revelations, not even all of them. There's so much in that interview, and this was just the first article coming out of it. There's probably a lot more to come. But ever since it dropped, everyone in the Trump administration is like all hands on deck in a way that we're gonna show you, an incredibly coordinated way. But let's start with Carolyn Leavitt. Let's see if she can do the machine gun pow 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 lips with this.
I would just echo my boss, Susie Wiles, who is the best chief of staff in our nation's history, working for the greatest president in our nation's history, and that this was, unfortunately, another attempt at fake news by a reporter who was acting disingenuously and really did take the chief's words out of context. But I think most importantly, the bias of omission was ever present throughout this story. The reporter omitted all of the positive things that Susie and our team said about the president and the inner workings of the White House.
Okay, so there's plenty in the interview where Susie Wiles is defending members of the administration, saying good things about, like, no, she didn't do the bias of omission. And it was 11 interviews over the course of months and months. They don't have to release every single word of it all at once. That's not how any of this works. Carolyn Leavitt fully understands that. She's good. We understand how this is supposed to function, Carolyn Leavitt. But to just call it fake news, it means literally nothing. And like, you know that, obviously, you know that they mean nothing. But like, if you're in MAGA, you know that that's just what they say when they don't like it, right? You get that. I know that you still want them to say it. You want to, mean media. We don't have to pay attention to it. But you know that it's not actually fake. It's literally quoting her. When she says Donald Trump has an alcoholic personality and JD Vance did a switch from never Trumper to Trumper, and it was totally a calculated thing, and he was a conspiracy theorist for a decade. What's the context that's supposed to change the meaning of those sentences? Did the reporter say, hey, we're doing a thing where this is reversey day? Just say the opposite of what you really think. And then she cut it off and didn't put it in the interview. No, that's not, none of that's true. The issue for them is that Susie Wiles, for reasons that nobody at present understands, nobody in MAGA world, nobody outside of MAGA world understands, did a bunch of these interviews and said a bunch of things that were honest, but reflected poorly on the administration. Not even Susie Wiles seems to understand exactly why she did it, because she's coming out and hitting this thing as everybody else is too. But that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that Susie Wiles actually regrets saying it. There's a lot of theorizing going around about why she might have done this. What was the actual intent? Was she suckered into saying these things? Everybody says Susie Wiles is a super intelligent person, a savvy political player. Perhaps there are objectives in what she said. Maybe she thinks this is a way to influence Donald Trump. Now, a lot of you are thinking, well, you said a lot of stuff that's really like critical towards Trump in terms of personality as well as policy, about the letting all the January 6ers go, the tariffs, the political prosecutions. She was really critical of a lot of what Donald Trump has been doing. And so, generally, historically, that would result in her being fired. And that could happen. And Carolyn Leavitt saying that she's the best ever and has the full support of Trump, that doesn't mean anything. They could fire her tomorrow and then they'd say the exact opposite. But it might be that she realizes that Donald Trump does actually need her and isn't gonna fire her even if she's critical. And this is actually kind of a way to get through to Donald Trump about some of the things she disagrees on. If it generates a lot of discussion, maybe it actually influences him. And even if she's not trying to influence Donald Trump, she could very well be trying to influence either his or MAGA's view of some of the other people that she's talking about. If she really doesn't like JD Vance hitting him in this way, I don't know. And then Donald Trump doesn't, attack her for saying bad things about Vance, calling him like a political calculator and a conspiracy theorist. Then maybe MAGA then absorbs, oh, I guess this guy maybe doesn't have Donald Trump's full support. There's a lot of potential objectives that Susie Wiles could have had in doing what she did. We don't know for sure, but as of right now, MAGA is very frustrated as well, both for what she said and also the fact that this is causing issues for the administration. You get tweets like this: why would you talk to Vanity Fair 11 times, which is admittedly a lot of them. Cernovich says, we are not a serious people and, sad to say, probably deserve the horrors that are approaching. Republicans in deep red states send people like this to the Senate. Susie Wiles is doing glam interviews with Bolshevik media. Cash is talking about his love story and podcast. So that's over the top and ridiculous. But also, yeah, you guys send absolute clowns and chuckleheads and losers and fools. Those are the people that you send, including Trump, by the way. Own up to that. You chose a reality TV guy. You guys did that. You supported him. You've been fighting for him. You've been rallying for him. You've been handing over your fortunes to him. You did that, not us. Now you have Emerald who says this new Vanity Fair article is wild. Susie Wiles talked with an S-lib reporter 11 times. Apparently this reporter is just a very normal journalist. It's not a super S-lib journalist, just a journalist. But anybody who isn't, like licking Donald Trump's feet in the Oval Office obviously has to be a commie. Trump has an alcoholic personality, and Vance is a conspiracy theorist, and Vaught is a right-wing zealot, which is 100% true, by the way. And Musk destroying USAID is a bad thing. Great job, everybody. But Emerald, dear Emerald, why are you more mad that she's saying that than that perhaps it's true? Maybe it really was bad what Musk did with USAID, and maybe Vaught is a right-wing zealot. I mean, Susie Wiles is intelligent. Donald Trump loves her, still hasn't, cast her aside or whatever. Maybe you should learn from what she had to say. But anyway, that's regular MAGA people. What about people in the actual administration? So take a look at this. We're not gonna really focus on any of these individual ones. This is like every single person in the upper echelons of the Trump administration, cabinet secretaries, senior advisors and all that. They all, almost at the exact same time, put out massive tweets attacking the article, defending Susie Wiles. And it's all so strange because Susie Wiles did it herself. She chose to do it. She chose to say all of these things. And even if she had like the first interview and it didn't go the way she expected, maybe she thought, I went a little bit too far. Why did she go back again and again and again and again? And so to pretend that this is all just an issue of the media being unfair or anything, it's obviously ridiculous. I don't think anybody actually buys that. But the fact that they all put out the statements all at basically the exact same time implies to me that this is seen as a major issue inside of the Trump administration. We're gonna have more on this actually on Wiles, but this is the first I've gotten from you, Sharon. What do you think about the interview that Wiles did? What do you think her objective might have been in this?
Listen, she doesn't really talk a lot unless it's to the right-wing media, as we know, or Katie Miller's podcast or whatever, if she did that. I'm not sure she thought about it. I think she was talked into it. She got into the rhythm of it. And then she was talking to a friend. I think she's probably, despite working for a traitor and somebody who probably soon should be up on war crimes, is a down-to-earth kind of gal, okay? And so I think, you know what we do as reporters. I would go in and talk and we're kind of friendly. And after you spend hours and hours and days with somebody, you start saying things to them like he kind of is like an alcoholic, even though he doesn't drink, okay? So I don't think she had an agenda here. I think she just had diarrhea of the mouth. And now a beautifully written article is out there and they're trying to deny it. And by the way, everyone's talking about the beautiful lighting and stuff on the pictures, John. It was very campy and corny with this group. I mean, you're talking about a cast of characters who's guilty of like everything under the sun. And yet there, Carolyn Levitt is with her red power suit on, posing by, was it a fireplace, a picture? I don't know, but it all grossed me out. It was campy and dumb.
Yeah, look, I'm not a professional photographer. I had a period where I was into it and was doing it like recreationally or whatever. And I saw that like Anna Paulina Luna like put out that photo of Carolyn Levitt. Was like, she's the prettiest press secretary ever. Which, first of all, this is clear Sean Spicer erasure. Back off Anna Paulina Luna. But also, it's not actually a good photo. Regardless of what you think about Carolyn Levitt and the massive amount of money and science that went into producing her current appearance, setting that aside, it's not a good photo. Terrible subject separation from the background. The lighting is really flat. There's no real composition. I kind of want to bring in Edwin to analyze the photos because they're not very good. And I'm not even gonna get into like the lip injection scars and everything. People I think are really freaking out about that. But you know that they all get the lip plumping or whatever. Like, what does it really matter if we eventually see the scars? Like, they're all radically changing their face. That's what Mar-a-Lago has done to them. So anyway, that to me is far less important than the actual substance of what was revealed. And I agree that you can get that diarrhea of the mouth, especially after like 11 meetings and all that. But I do think that there are some objectives. And I think perhaps in follow-up articles where they reveal more of the conversation, maybe we'll know more about that. Okay. But for now, I do want to talk about Donald Trump and Susie Wiles. Let's jump into this.
Susie Trump, do you know Susie Trump? Sometimes referred to as Susie Wiles, Susie Trump. She's the great chief of staff at the They don't use the word chief of staff anymore because of the Indians got extremely upset. But now the Indians actually want their name used, which is true. They never didn't want it.
I don't even. I don't think. First of all, I don't think anybody had a problem with chief of staff. I don't. And wait, but now they want it. Well, why did they switch on it? And if we're talking about the stuff that's like offensive, I think it's the you screaming Indians into the. I think that's probably the thing rather than chief of staff. Whatever. His brain is decaying. He's a terrible person. Anyway, Susie Trump. I've made her a Trump. That's how great she is. That's how reliable and trustworthy she is. And so MAGA, she got the seal of approval. She got the stamp from Donald Trump. You can pay attention and you can take to the bank the stuff that Susie Wiles apparently said. Oh, sorry. She's sometimes called that. Usually it's Susie Trump. So maybe take it seriously when she says that she really tried to caution Donald Trump from letting loose all those violent insurrectionists and devastating us with the tariffs, which she says have been way more painful than even she thought they would be, and all the other nonsense with Doggy and with the firings and all that stuff. Susie Trump thinks all of that's really bad. Maybe you should pay attention to it. She is, after all, a member of the Dear Leaders family. But anyway, here is Donald Trump responding to what she said. And this is kind of fascinating because we have seen people show inklings of disloyalty, or not even disloyalty, but just a bit of criticism. I mean, most recently we had Marjorie Greene. And how has Donald Trump historically responded when people do that? He sets them literally on fire. He nukes their home, he takes their carcass and he throws it under a bus. But not this time. He said, no, she meant that you see, I don't drink alcohol, talking about the alcoholic personality thing. So everybody knows that, but I've often said that if I did, I'd have a very good chance of being an alcoholic. I have said that many times about myself. I do. It's a very possessive personality. I mean, look, there was context to what she was saying, and she was talking about like how he doesn't have any limits on what he'll do or whatever. But it definitely can be seen to reflect poorly on him, especially considering his own family history and people who had alcoholism and all that. But he's being very defensive about, not personally defensive about Susie Wiles in a way that I find fascinating. And he said, I didn't read it, but I don't read Vanity Fair, but she's done a fantastic job. I think from what I hear, the facts were wrong, and it was a very misguided interviewer, purposefully misguided. Asked if he had full confidence in Wiles, the president said, oh, she's fantastic. I don't know what the interviewer being misguided is supposed to mean. Susie Wiles controls Susie Wiles' brain, Susie Wiles' mouth, all of that. She decides to go back. Was the reporter only misguided on the 11th interview? Or if not, why did Susie Wiles continue to have all of these sit downs and phone chats with the misguided reporter? And however misguided the reporter is, even though they're not totally normal reporter, let's say that they were really unfair, a commie reporter. She said the things that she said. Stop talking about the reporter. Why does she not have to own up to what she said? Or at the very least, I don't want her to like back off of any of it. Why can't you guys just grapple with it? About the things she said, the incredibly critical things that she said about so many there in the administration. It's, again, Sharon, it's very strange. I don't know why Donald Trump, maybe he really just does think that he needs her. I don't know. He's certainly been willing to go on the warpath against people like Marjorie Greene.
Number one, he hates the media more than he's willing to listen to the context here and the things that she literally said out of her mouth, and some of it was recorded. We learned from the reporter. It's I have this take on it. It's a bit like an abusive relationship here, okay? She's told the truth, and the family has kind of talked her out of telling the truth about this kind of abusive situation. And now everyone's rallying around her, even though she said, dad beats mom. I'm using that. I understand no one's beaten anyone that we know of here. But do you understand what I'm saying? It's almost like this abusive thing that families do. Someone escaped and said, he's beating me, he's hurting people. And then they got her back, and now she's back on the wagon, and everyone's telling this bizarre truth. And they're standing firm in it. We're a family. How dare you infiltrate and try to tear us apart? The family member tell the truth.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm making sense here, but that's how I see it. It's like this abusive relationship.
Yeah, I really just, I want to see more from the interviews. It was 11 talks.
Yeah.
God only knows. That said, let's jump into a little bit more evidence of how big of an issue this is for the Trump administration, starting with Dana Bash on CNN, apparently getting pushback from the way that she's been covering it.
Policy point after policy point, she pulls back the curtain and gives the reader a real sense of what is going on inside the chief of staff's thinking on those things.
I just want to, let's just go there. You probably saw me looking down while you were talking because I was getting texts from people inside Trump world who say, no, they're not reeling, as our Chiron says. So here we go. Susie Wiles is unfiltered. We're going to be unfiltered too. And they say that that is not what's happening, and that is an exaggeration of what's going on inside. So that's out there.
Yeah, they'd like you to say that. They'd like that to be out there. Again, they're texting you. We showed you the thing. They all were tweeting about this. What does the Secretary of Transportation have to do with literally any of this? Why is Pete Hegseth weighing in on this? They're reeling. But anyway, let's end with this. This is the actual reporter, the biased reporter, Chris Whipple. The president has said that he is misleading people. Here he's responding to that charge.
As you know, I wrote a book about the Biden White House where everybody was on deep background requiring quote approval. Quite the opposite in this case. Susie Wiles in 11 interviews over 11 months.
That's how many there were, 11 interviews over 11 months.
11 in-depth interviews in which she was on the record. Everything in the article was on the record.
Were you recording every interview?
I recorded every interview.
Even ones that were on the phone. There was one where she was doing laundry, apparently.
Yeah, everything is on tape.
Did she know this was for Vanity Fair? Did she think this was for a long-term book that you were doing?
She knew I was working on a book at the outset. When I told her that Vanity Fair had agreed to do a piece, to publish a piece, she was all in and enthusiastic about it.
And look, maybe to Sharon's earlier point about just getting comfortable or whatever, maybe she wants a little bit of recognition. Maybe she wants the spotlight or whatever, or thinks that just getting the spotlight can't hurt her because Donald Trump likes stars or whatever. I don't know. I will say, I know there's always concern with these sorts of things. Anything that happens, it's a concern of, is this intended to be a distraction? In this particular case, I don't think that it is. I mean, this has been 11 months coming. They've been doing this interview. I don't think they play the long game in quite that way. And I don't think that it'll work to that extent anyway. People are still talking about the boat strikes. They're still going to be talking about, what is likely going to be a failure on extending the ACA subsidies, about how the Epstein file disclosures are supposed to come on Friday. Like we can walk and chew gum at the same time. And this is pretty amazing. I've never seen anything from a chief of staff quite like this. Final thoughts, Sharon?
Like you, I'm only reacting to this increment. They'll be released in another little snippets and probably recordings, and who knows how they'll react each time it gets worse. She may not survive this, by the way, believe it or not. Susie Wiles, like his de facto mom or something. But I just think maybe you are right. We've got to learn more context, more everything. But they're not some geniuses who are playing wag the dog here to distract us from things. This is not Bill Clinton and Monica and suddenly we're at war and look over here, not there. It's not that. They are a dysfunctional bunch, and it's captured in increment 1 of the article.
Yeah, actually, as we're going to get to when we come back from our next break, the way that it works in this administration is that to distract from the other stuff, they start the war, actually. So we're going to have that. We're going to talk about how we're going to war probably by the end of the week after this break. Okay, everybody, thank you for being here. I want to remind everyone once again that tomorrow, 30 minutes after the close of the Aftermath, we're going to be doing our December members hangout for our tier 3 members on YouTube. Also, joining me tomorrow on the show after way too long. I honestly, we need to check back if we've had him on since inauguration. Maybe once. Michael Shore is going to be on the show, and what a time to bring him on, especially if war has been declared or not declared, but it's happening with the Susie Wiles stuff, with the economy. Great time to have Michael Shore on, so he'll be on tomorrow. Okay, Knuckle Dragon in the members' comments says, Days of Our White House is the hottest daytime soap right now. Gross. Cosmic Ooh sent a Damage Report membership, thank you, on YouTube. CDN Norse Dog Dad gifted 10 memberships and then thought, you know what, actually, I'm gonna gift 5 more. Thank you for that, very nice of you. And I believe there was a super chat in relation to it. Yes, CDN North Dog Dad says in a super chat, now that my CC is working again, I gifted 15 gift memberships. All I ask is if you get one, is when you can afford it and only when you can, hashtag pay it forward, which is a very nice philosophy. And CDN North Dog Dad has done that multiple times before in the past. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. Okay, Real Stranox says in a super chat, I love how the algorithm takes me right here by typing the damn. Oh, nice. I would have to see if mine works the exact same way, but do we have a lock on the damn? Okay. CD No Stock Dad said in another super chat, Trump needs Susie more than Susie Wiles needs Trump. But he is so delusional that he thinks his staff only says good things about me because I'm the best president ever. Yeah, I think that there's a chance of that. And look, Susie Wiles has, for all of whatever else might be going on with her, and remember, she's a part of this administration that tars her. Obviously, they've done terrible, immoral, and illegal things. So Susie Wiles is a part of that, whether she criticizes them or not. But they've gone almost a year without losing like 3 press secretaries, the Secretary of Defense, the head of the FBI. Like they haven't had that same chaos. Oh, there's been chaos, but the chaos has been all over America and around the world, not as much inside of the White House. I mean, a third of the White House was destroyed, so I guess that's a bit of chaos. But in terms of turnover, it hasn't really been happening. And maybe Trump doesn't want to lose that. And who's he gonna bring in? Like with the way he hires people, it's gonna be Gutfeld or something to be the next chief of staff. And who wants that? Anyway, Wayne says in a super chat, thank you, says, I'm hoping that the management shakeup at the FBI hits first, but fear the replacements being just competent to do real damage and harm to those on Trump's retribution list. Yeah, we're gonna be talking a little bit later on the show about Dan Bongino, who might already not work there anymore. And we haven't really talked about who would actually replace them. And I don't know. I mean, at this point, I would guess it's people that we won't be familiar with, but like, it could be Laura Loomer or something for all we know. Laura Trump could be getting it next. Yeah, I don't know. I doubt it's going to be an actual competent person with actual experience. So there's no reason to believe that. Okay, let's see. Victroid says, I feel like the intro needs to be longer because memes. Yeah, that sounds like a whole big thing because the song's a certain length. I can switch out the photos. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that. I mean, someday I guess we'll probably get a whole new intro and a new song. We've been going for like the better part of a decade with the one we have right now, but I'm gonna keep going at least through this administration. How about that? Okay, let's see. Velvet Gold. Oh, okay. I'm gonna get to your comment after the next one. Don't worry, we got a lot of news to get to. Let's jump back to it. In the social break, someone was talking about the days of our White House, and Jason says, I like the bold and the bigoted as a title. That's pretty good, I do like that. Okay, with that said, let's get into low-key one of the most important stories of the day. So we're going to war. Let's stop, tiptoeing around it. It really looks like any day now, maybe today, probably tonight in Donald Trump's address, he's going to announce that, we're not going to declare war because he doesn't want to have to answer to Congress and he doesn't want to be clear and honest and upfront and transparent about it. But we're going to effectively be at war with Venezuela. Maybe tomorrow on the show, I'll come back and be like, whoopsie doopsie, I messed it up. I don't know. But we took another big step towards it, apparently over the night. Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social. Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest capital A armada ever assembled in the capital H history of South America. It will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before. Until such time as they return to the United States of America, all of the oil, land, and other assets that they previously stole from us. What land? Did they invade Texas or something? I literally don't even know. Look, I'm gonna be real with everybody. like I spend my nights, I'm focused on my family, my daughter. Maybe I missed something. I don't know what did they take Hawaii? If so, then I'm glad that we have the biggest capital A armada, but I don't think that they stole land. And what oil did they steal? Is he just like, is he mixing up the fact that the goal of all of this is to steal their oil? So he's just like, nah, you did it first. I literally don't even know. And I know that this is not coming off very professional or whatever, but neither is he, and he's the president. We should be able to have at least a little higher of a bar for the president than for some jackass on YouTube. But anyway, he says that they're doing terrorism, human trafficking, murdering, kidnapping or whatever. Yeah, okay, well there has been some murder in the region recently. I'm pretty sure we were responsible for it. So anyway, the long and short of it is that he's ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into or out of Venezuela. And apparently we need the biggest armada ever assembled for that. Just for that, not as the prelude to an invasion or anything. It's just to stop a couple of unarmed oil tankers from getting in and out. And then he repeats that they have robbed our nation and it's a hostile regime to take our oil, land, and other assets, which must be returned. So unless Venezuela returns the land they've stolen to America, the regime is illegitimate. I mean, where have we heard this before? I am old enough to have been around for the run up to the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's all this is. We've stepped up from bombing the ships to CIA on the ground to sending a bunch of ships. We've now blockaded them. I mean, Sharon, am I crazy or are we at war tomorrow morning? What do you think?
War tomorrow morning, and it has to happen tomorrow morning, John, because there are probably a group of other billionaires who are on a WhatsApp chat. Kushner's probably on there too with them. And they're literally saying to him, you promised us the oil, you promised us the oil. Like, come on, let's do this. When are we gonna do this? You could have been done this. Come on, you're almost a lame duck. The window is tight. It has to happen tomorrow. Like, I literally believe, maybe it's not WhatsApp, maybe it's a different app, but I literally believe, and I don't think I'm like JD, a conspiracy theorist, maybe. Correct. If I am, tell me, and I'll believe you, I'll get help. But I honestly believe that these are the conversations. We have to do it now. And he's so dumb, sorry, that he doesn't even realize that he's the sacrificial lamb. They know he's not gonna be in power forever. So they want this to, come on, get the oil, get the oil, get the oil. Go to war. You got this dummy leading the Department of War. He can get this done for us.
Yeah, I mean that they definitely do want to pay them back. I mean, Bessent, that's like, I think why he's in the administration is to set that up. They want to be able to topple the regime, put in a regime that's going to be better for business. That's all it is. The classic thing, and it's why I said a week, or I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago, for anybody in MAGA who's like, we're a new type of Republican Party, we're cool and we're populist or whatever. Nope, you're a Bush person. It's just George W. Bush all over again. It's just, you like Dick Cheney. You don't call him Dick Cheney, you call him JD Vance. It's the exact same thing. It's not, may not be Colin Powell. Maybe you've got the drunk or whatever, but like that's all any of this is it's just George W. Bush again. And look, I think it's primarily about replacing the head of the regime, getting businesses in there, taking the oil. Let's be clear about that. It also doesn't hurt that on Friday, they're supposed to hand over all the Epstein files. And maybe you're gonna look a little bit rude, aren't you? Asking for some measly files when our country's at war. Maybe you should shut up about it for a couple weeks, a year, until the end of time. And just don't even worry about that stuff because we need to support our troops. Maybe that's part of what is going on. And isn't it amazing the excuses leading up to this war, how they've changed? Wasn't this supposed to be about drugs? He like barely even mentioned drugs in that screed. And you know why? Because it ain't about drugs and it never was. They don't even produce fentanyl, and the stuff that they were shipping, whatever it was, doesn't even come to America. It was never about this. This is like the Epstein cover-up in that they're trying to do a thing that helps them, and they're so goddamn incompetent at it. And we just have to sit here almost pining for a time when our government at least did the illegal stuff with some panache. Instead, it's just a big mess. And related to that, I just want to briefly let you know, Hegseth has now said, Look at this. He has an excuse here too. In keeping with longstanding Department of War policy, I'm gonna check you there, buddy. There can't be any longstanding Department of War policies because it ain't the Department of War. Department of Defense policy, he corrects himself. Thank you for that, Pete Hegseth. Of course, we're not gonna release a top secret, full unedited video of that to the general public. You know his war crime video that like every Republican that saw it says, hey, it proves we didn't do any war crimes. They don't want you to see it for some reason. I guess they're just shy. They don't want to brag about how awesome and legal it all was. And so I want to remind everyone, they released the initial video of the strike, so you can see that. You can't see the second one, the one that people say is a war crime. It's weird. It's weird that it being top secret is related to that. It's especially weird because Trump initially said, yeah, I got no problem releasing it. And then tried to backtrack just a couple days later saying he'd never said those things that are on video. You could just see them. Isn't it strange that they don't want to show you the evidence that proves that they're totally cool and definitely shouldn't be brought up on war crimes? And you guys are being ridiculous talking about illegal orders. Isn't it weird that they don't want to release that stuff? Anyway, Sharon, quick thoughts about that.
Look, we have got to rid ourselves of these monsters. Like we've been talking about this. I missed your little calendar that's behind you that tells us how many days are left. How many days are left?
It's probably in the 20s.
My
I need
God.
to update it.
Oh my God, that's an outrageous number for anybody who can't see it. It's 734 days roughly that we are not safe. We literally have the United States of America blowing up Forrest Gump, saying we're going to invade another country. Like, and we're debating, we don't really know if there's drugs. It doesn't matter if there were drugs there. Congress is asleep. Mike Johnson will go to church on Sunday as if he has any faith in him. And people will shake his hands. He might even get communion or something. I don't know about his faith, but they will fellowship. They will share Bible verses. It's insane. Yeah. I don't know what you asked me, but that's my response. We've got to do something. This is crazy.
Yeah,
we are at war. They have taken, there's a war against us. 723 days now. It doesn't feel much better. Okay, we lost a few days. How many days? 11 days. 11 days, right?
Yeah, well, so I do have to, I got bad news for you. It's not days left, it's shows left. There's still some
weekends,
but
is it the weekend still?
Yeah,
this is why people have extra cocktails because they can't stand it. I don't even drink. I may have a cocktail. This is crazy.
I think that we're gonna have to start drinking on the show. Yeah, no, I feel the exact same way. I wish for all of us
if you
that
do
we
it
didn't
on
have to do it.
Wednesdays, I might never make that.
Casual Wednesdays,
yeah. Okay, we can try it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for now, we are still stuck with him, and we might soon be stuck with yet another war, maybe some more nation building. That's what they've got queued up for season 2, by the way, of this term. Just everyone be prepared. And we'll see. If it doesn't happen tonight, then we'll say that tomorrow on the show. Anyway, with that said, let's turn to another possible distraction. Let's jump into this. President Donald Trump is expected to tomorrow sign yet another executive order, except this one might do a little bit of good. It might not be being done to do that good, but it might have that effect. And it has to do with rescheduling marijuana to a lower drug classification. Now, we don't know for sure that this is going to happen. He hasn't said I'm going to do it. It's just likely to happen at this point. And what it would do is it would reclassify marijuana from a Schedule 1 drug, which the DEA defines as having no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse, which was never ever true of it, to a Schedule 3 drug, which the DEA defines as having a moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence, which would still be ridiculous, but at least would be far less serious. And that would have ramifications for instance, research into marijuana, research or use in a medical sense. It is ridiculous that in 2025 we're still having this debate at all, that you can go and you can buy 10 gallons of Fireball if you want and get so toasted you literally die on your couch. But marijuana, oh, that's a sensitive topic. We need to avoid doing anything about that. It's ridiculous. But anyway, look, if Trump does this, we'll see if there's some context around it. I don't know, maybe some of his donors are gonna make money or something, but all else being equal, it will be a good thing. All else being equal, is it maybe the best thing he'll have done as president? I don't know. We're gonna have that debate, but it could be one of the best things he can do, at least in the short term for his polling, as Harry Enton is gonna describe.
This would be some of the best politics that Donald Trump has done in a long period of time if in fact the US decides to reschedule marijuana. Why do I say this? Take a look here, say marijuana should be legal. Look at the time span and look at how much higher and higher and higher favoring Americans have in terms of legalizing marijuana. Look at this. In 1969, it was just 12%. In 85, 23%. 20 years ago, it was 36%. Look at this, nearly double from where we were just 20 years ago in terms of the percentage of Americans who say that marijuana should in fact be legalized in the country. This could be an issue that could help, among other issues, help bring them back into the president's camp. Why do I say that? Because those under the age of 35, look at that, 72% want it legal, and then you see about half have ever used marijuana. So for me, this could be a wedge issue that the president could use, in fact, against his Democratic opposition and say, hey, you know what? Democrats have talked the talk, but I'm actually gonna walk the walk when it comes to legalizing marijuana.
And two more quick things about that. So first of all, that's 72% saying the younger, and almost as many of other people saying they want it to be legalized. And isn't it crazy that you have to get to that level where like the president will be like, maybe. Like that's our democracy. Maybe if everybody agrees, maybe. Let me call my donors. But also, that's them saying they want it to be legalized, not just like rescheduled, just still kind of controlled. Maybe you can get a grant to research. No, they're just like, stop it. God damn, can you guys catch up to the rest of the world? Can you catch up to the rest of much of the country? I can go buy it right now. I can walk down the street. In fact, after today's show, I probably will. So can we just catch up to all of that? They are so far beyond even what Donald Trump is now thinking. And so anyway, Sharon, I go to you. Is this the best? Do you think it'll happen? Is this the best thing that he's done in his presidency? What do you think?
I don't know if it's the best thing. It will happen because it's kind of brilliant. Now, this would be a good distraction for people who say, "Why? What?" Like you said, what is taking so long here? So I do think it will happen, and it may give him a little bit of a bounce where people across the spectrum, different, sides of the aisle, MAGA, whatever, might say, okay, but you finally did something good, so we can't quibble about that, and it'll back off the masses who are saying, yo, we've got to rid ourselves now. It's a hell of a balancing act, though, because on the one hand, again, I have to keep going back to the Forrest Gump blowing up the boats thing. You said you're the drug enforcer guy and you don't want any poison and this and that. And I don't think marijuana, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, his actions, his words, the blowing up, none of it is like congruent. It's just kind of like all over the place.
Yeah. It's totally true. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of that. It's like we should go to war with Venezuela because of the fentanyl that they produce, that they don't actually produce. Also, I'm gonna pardon an international drug trafficker, and you can have more weed, and also drugs are killing literally everyone in America. It's a little bit muddled. It's a little strange. But anyway, I think it'll be a good thing. I don't think it's nearly going far enough, but I'm sure it will earn him a good bit of coverage on Joe Rogan for a week or two. Anyway, we're gonna take our second break. When we come back, lots more news, including more critics of the Trump administration and some who might soon no longer be in the administration. Quick little behind the scenes note. I think I'm gonna put Tech Force to the bottom for right now. We'll do the other two, and hopefully we can still get to it. But if not, we can always do it with Michael tomorrow. But everybody out there, thank you for being here. Thank you to Dragon Dancer for gifting a membership. Thank you for Super Annoyed doing the same. And then also, after being a member for 9 months, says favorite day of the week with John and Sharon. Oh, shots fired to JR. It's almost the best damn day of the week. Oh. Wizard says he needs oil for his Filet-O-Fish. That's funny. Donald Daly recommends I do 8 minutes of Tai Chi every day now. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I do though, I try to pretty often be the person who goes in to wake up my daughter and spend some time while she's in her crib and everything. She's like reading a book. And I do a lot of stretching now during that time as I'm like drinking my coffee. So I'm finding that that's being a little bit helpful. Let's see. Thomas Anakin says, no, John, you're not just some jackass on YouTube. You're a jackass on YouTube and Twitch and also podcast. By the way, I don't know if we're still on, we were at one point on Pluto TV. I don't know if we still are. I want to be very clear. I don't have we don't work with Pluto TV. I love Pluto TV. I think everybody should try it out. Sharon, are you a Pluto TV person? Are you familiar with that? What that is even?
Okay, I am. This is one that I do know about, okay? Because Pluto TV, there was a time where I couldn't hook up this is a big TV behind me in my other office, different house. And
That's not a window?
No, isn't that remarkable? Someone took a picture and they put it in there. I don't know how to change it. I'd love to change it and have different backgrounds, but I don't know how to do it. But I figured out this Pluto TV and I started watching some things. So I kind of know about it. How to get back there, I don't know, but I've experienced this Pluto.
How do you don't know how to get back to the app? Okay, I can help you with that. Anyway, yeah, I remember what I was, it just, I like that you're not going to a specific thing, you go to a channel. Yep. And you come into something and it's halfway done. Like I go to their movie section, it's just like 6 movies that I want to watch. And I just choose one of them. And they have there's a Mr. Rogers channel.
Yep.
There's there's a Bob Ross channel. I watch the Star Trek Voyager channel. It's so much better and it's free. You have ads or whatever. It's so I have actual TV. I don't know why. I have TV to watch SNL and sometimes sports or whatever. It's so much better than TV. So anyway, and again, we're not doing a thing with them or whatever. I really like Pluto TV. Anyway, okay, so let's see. Asimov's Prophet says, I'm putting my money on Dana White for next chief of staff. Yeah. Dear God, it's either that or it's Paul Levesque. It'll probably be one of those two. Anyway, let's see. Boomer Dragon Cat says Susie Wiles just aren't wiling the way they used to, or are they? Ray of Sunshine says if Jeanine Pirro can drink before her shows, I think y'all can have a drink or two. She drink before her shows. She drinks during her SOTs, I think. But anyway, would they put Jeanine Pirro in as the new chief of staff? I don't know. She's a bit drunk for it. Anyway, he does like her though. Boomer Dragon Cat says, thank you, Sharon, voicing exactly what goes through my head on repeat. This is insane. And I agree, it definitely is. Okay, let's see. Jasper Cat says, I am so tired of these old fossils constantly ruining everyone's lives. Totally, 100%. And it is dark times. That's why I try to, when there's a bit of good news, even the reclassification, we do try to focus on that. Okay, with that said, a lot more news to get to. Okay, everybody, lots more news, but before we do that, let me remind you about a partnership that TYT is doing with Noble Mobile, the only wireless plan that pays you to use your phone less. You can switch to Noble's Noble plan and get unlimited data for only $50 a month, and then at the end of the month, any data under a cap that you don't use gets credited back to your account as cash back. You can stop letting your unused data go to waste or the money of it go to the shareholders. Instead, it should go into your pocket, and you can save a bunch of money. People who use it over the course of a year say on average they save between $500 and $1,000 a year on their phone bill. And if that sounds good to you, you can head to tyt.com/switch to find out more information. Now, let's have a little bit more fun starting with this.
I think the dam is breaking. Many Republicans may not have called him out, but last week 13 Republicans voted with Democrats to overturn one of President Trump's executive orders, which enabled him to fire federal workers. We also saw Indiana Republicans vote against redistricting. He didn't call any of them traitors and call for primaries against them.
Well, that is not true at all. He definitely has called for primaries against those. I don't know if he called them traitors, but Rod Bray, he's talked about him in multiple things. He's really mad about that. So I don't know what Marjorie Greene meant there, but Marge is right that there might be a dam breaking, and you're now starting to see judges and state representatives and others starting to break. And isn't it strange that she was on the leading edge of that? Now, she's also leaving, so it doesn't really accomplish much that she was willing to go against Donald Trump because she's not going to actually do anything about it. But she did at least show that you can do it, I guess, and that's to her credit. By the way, did everyone hear that she's apparently getting married to that reporter guy or whatever? So Congratulations, Representative C. I was nice to her. But anyway, she went further in that interview about what she thinks is likely to happen to Trump. Let's take a look.
But I would like to say that that is a sign where you're seeing Republicans, they're entering the campaign phase for 2026, which is a large signal that lame duck season has begun and that Republicans will go in all in for themselves in order to save their own reelections.
You think the dam is breaking in terms of the president's iron grip of support when it comes to your party?
Absolutely. He's got real problems with Republicans within the House and the Senate that will be breaking with him on more things to come.
Yeah, and look, I apparently a couple of Republicans have teamed up with the Democrats to assure that there will be a vote on extending the ACA subsidies for health insurance. So, I mean, Trump has said he wants to do something to stop that surprise problem. But remember, he also broke the shutdown so that he wouldn't have to extend those subsidies. So it's entirely possible that he will be mad about the Republicans once again bucking him in this way. But I think we have one more clip where she was attacking Fox News for, I guess, not getting on board with the new Republican rebellion. Take a look.
While CNN has been talking about affordability, all of a sudden, after Republicans got crushed in that election not too long ago, Fox News is all of a sudden willing to talk about affordability because it is a crisis.
Yeah, and that's where you have some Republicans who are now willing to criticize him. You have some like in the media that are realizing, oh, shouldn't we at least acknowledge the problems that are happening, even if we're going to lie about why they're happening and how much culpability Donald Trump has. And then you have Donald Trump who's still calling it a hoax. He's behind even Fox News in this, Sharon. What do you think?
Can Susie Wiles help him with that, the messaging? Listen, I think that like we've seen before in America, right? Because we love to do this. Like when people start losing some things like Diddy, first he had all these powerful people rallying around him. And then the dominoes began to fall, pieces of the puzzle began to emerge. And I think that's going to obviously happen with this guy who's occupying the White House. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is onto something here. But it's also going to really piss me off when that happens because people like the Mike Pences of the world are going to get credit for, we stood up to. No, what you did was you waited till the last second when it was certain that he was going to be defeated. And then you stood up like you're some kind of war hero or something. And that's what we're looking at. I'll give her credit that she jumped out a little bit earlier. She got out of the sinking Titanic before there was a lot of water. I mean, it was taking on water. Let's be clear here.
Yeah.
Okay. The lights were flickering and things were happening, but there were still boats, rafts and things available. She jumped off. But this is the way my brain thinks. I think that she's onto something, and there's going to be a lot of people saying, we did this. Yeah. No, you didn't. You didn't. You let us suffer.
No, I think AOC should choose Marge as her vice presidential candidate. I think she's awesome and great, and I think that you need to be nicer to her.
This is stunning.
Someone in the chat was like, when she steps down, would you want her as your co-host? And I was thinking, no, I'm not going to do that. But if I ever need Sharon to fill in for me, maybe I'll have Marge be her co-host.
Well, it would go viral. I don't know how much integrity I would have being on with her because I tend to, when people are in my face, unless they really bother me, I don't know. It's not that I drink the Kool-Aid, but I would probably allow her extra time and I'd be deferent, and I don't want to be like that. I just want to be truthful. So maybe don't have her on with me. Yeah. Somebody else, maybe JR.
Maybe, but Jordan, yes. And I do agree that they are taking on water, and I think most of it is still collecting in Donald Trump's ankles. But anyway, we have one more story to close out the hour with. Let's jump into this.
I gave up everything for this. I mean, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there. He gets in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. I'm in there at 7:30. In the morning, he uses the gym. I work out in my apartment, but I stare at these four walls all day in DC, by myself, divorced from my wife, not divorced, but I mean, separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, we love each other and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work.
therapy is a thing. It's available. Like if you want to talk to a professional, I'm not even trying to mock him. He apparently was at that point having, this is from a couple months ago, he was having a really hard time. Like you don't have to do it with the Fox and Friends crew live on TV. You can talk to an actual professional. But anyway, apparently it was really weighing on him after just like 3 months of having to do an actual job. He ran to the media to complain about it. Oh no, you have to look at the four walls. Oh, and by the way, he totally was making himself out to be a victim. The fact that he tried to project on to Comey or whatever. When did Comey go on the news to bitch about having to do an actual job? And by the way, Comey, as far as we know, at least showed up for work to get paid. Bongino just routinely doesn't even show up. And now we're in, I guess, the final phase of that, because I don't know if it's the four walls or the early hours or hearing everything that Kash Patel does in the bathroom, but something apparently broke Dan Bongino, and it looks like he's on his way out. He's apparently been sending office knickknacks and other possessions back to Florida, where he intends to end his lucrative career as a pro-Trump media broadcaster, or to resume it in time for the midterm elections. So he's done with the whole being an insider thing, actually having to deliver. It's more fun to just be able to conspiracy theorize and all that. This month, he apparently suggested to associates that he might go out on a high note by sharing his plans to step down at a news conference announcing the capture of a suspect in the planting of pipe bombs near the party headquarters of Democrats and Republicans on January 6th. He even went out of his way to mend fences with Pam Bondi, whom he'd accused of bungling the investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, according to people briefed on the exchange. Now, they say that he hasn't made a final decision, and he's denied that his office is empty, even though people have said he hasn't showed up in weeks. Why would he be sending the knickknacks back home? Like, why would he be clearing it out and not showing up? No, it looks like he's gonna be gone. And by the way, his intended viewership, the people who used to listen to him, have no standards whatsoever. So I have no expectation that they're gonna be like, hey, you said you were gonna do stuff and then you went in and you accomplished literally nothing, and you defended the cover up of the Epstein thing. Like if they had like actual backbone, actual morals, that's what they would do. And that's what he deserves. But I think that he's probably gonna be fine. And he's gonna go right back into talking about the deep state and all that stuff after being in a position to do something and utterly failing. What do you think, Sharon?
First of all, you're right. Total victim. Second of all, the divorce will happen when he leaves, because she's having the time of her life in Florida without him. Okay, I can assure you that. Watching QVC and not having to put up with that ego. That is what's going on. He also lied to Fox and Friends. Okay, Kash Patel is not there 24/7. He was just on Katie Miller's podcast with his girlfriend. He's flying around the plane with his girlfriend and ordering Secret Service agents to protect her and her other friends. Hold my hair while I puke in the toilet. So listen, go back to your fans who, as you said, don't have any standards whatsoever, and we'll entertain, I guess, the next loser in the role.
Yeah, and by the way, like, this is what they want. They got their tax cuts. Now they don't want to actually have to show up to work. Dan Bongino gets paid way too much to be in a position he's not qualified for, but he can make 5 times as much, 10 times as much doing a stupid podcast. And just all the sheep that will be listening to him, he'll be making ad money off them. He'll be selling them NFTs and disaster seeds and all that. And then he doesn't really have to do anything. He's not responsible for anything. He can just wildly conspiracy theorize. He can try to stoke hatred and fear and inspire some violence and get paid for it. It is so much easier than a real job. Anyway, that's unfortunately gonna have to be the end of the first hour of the show. We do have a lot more in the aftermath though, including some stuff that will lighten things up. The trailer has dropped for the Melania documentary. We'll be giving our review of that and more after this. Welcome back to the Aftermath, one and all. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Rick Quintanilla, for gifting those 5 memberships, which you just did. Thank you for doing that. Super nice of you. We're gonna get to some of your comments in just a sec, but first, don't forget about our sponsor, Noble Mobile. Save money by using your phone less and get unlimited data for $50 a month at tyt.com/switch. Now, Benjamin said this. This was in response to a question that I asked earlier and said, I believe, this 28 months, by the way, is a member, thank you, says, I believe that Venezuela nationalized the oil fields and removed the American oil companies. Okay, that might well be what he's saying, but that wasn't our land. Like, just because American oil companies were on it, it wasn't American territory. And think about what he is saying in pretending that that's true. That like our corporations, foreign business endeavors are on the exact same level of severity as our actual territory being stolen. And I don't doubt that he actually does think that. But I don't care about what happens, some oil company in another country, whatever, especially considering all of the history of all that and how they got the contracts and all of that in the first place. But that might be what he's talking about there. Thank you. As always with Trump, it's utterly muddled and insane. Okay, let's see. Gargoyle Dragon, member for 14 months, says, happy 14 months of being part of the squad. Just watched the best takedown of Steve Bannon. Josh Johnson's latest YouTube post has a hilarious take. I saw that one pop up in my feed. I haven't watched it yet. I have really appreciated a lot of his videos over the past few months. I'm gonna have to watch it. Okay, with that, more news to get to, starting with whatever the hell this is.
And these people do like Israel. Hold on. And he loves Israel too. It's true. 2 seconds, just 2 seconds. 6 years ago, I was up here. And I said, this is our first Jewish president. It's true.
Oh God, just having to see both of them. Like, I know that that's peak male performance, ladies, please try to control yourself. But like the little, his little toad face saying it's true. First of all, like, this is just me, you do you. Stop adding people to groups that they're not a part of because you happen to like something that they did. It's always weird. And then for Trump to be like, it's true, knowing everything that he's done and said having to do with Judaism and Jewish Americans and Jewish, like well, as we're gonna get to, what he calls the Jewish lobby and all that. Mark Levin doesn't care about it. All he cares about is, are you deferential to the current government of Israel, and do you hand over large quantities of American money? That's all he cares about. That's all that it means for him to label Trump the first Jewish president. So let's be clear about that. But that entire meeting that you just saw there, very weird. Weird in the clip that we showed you. It's gonna get perhaps even weirder. This isn't even the first time that Mark Levin has said that. To be clear, back in 2019 at a previous Hanukkah reception, he said, it's an honor to be here with the first Jewish president of the United States. And if he isn't, he should be. I want to thank you for everything you've done for the Jewish people. Want to thank you for everything you've done for the Jewish people's ancestral homeland. You are going to be remembered there for 1,000 years. And so again, from his point of view, has nothing to do with the actual government, the policy, military tactics. It's all about whether you support the religion. Except is it? Because like, he loves Trump, but like, if Bernie had become president, do you think Mark Levin would be like, you know what, I might disagree as well on some policy, but it is good to see a Jewish president? Like, no, it doesn't actually have anything to do with the religion. It's all about deference to the particular government. And I hate that they tried to elevate it to a level of moral superiority by pretending that it has anything to do with any religion at all. And by the way, if the Israeli government changed, because lots of Israelis don't agree with Benjamin Netanyahu, don't agree with the military strategy, it can and perhaps is likely to change. Is Mark Levin gonna be as endlessly deferential to the government and imply that our president should be if it becomes a leftist Israeli government? And all of a sudden it has a very different stance vis-a-vis the Palestinians and a two-state solution and all that. Will it still be the case that the president should never question them in any way? I have a feeling things are gonna rapidly change. But I don't know, if the money has its way, that might never happen, because evidently Trump said that Miriam Adelson, Israeli-American big-time campaign donor, offered him $250 million to run for an illegal and unconstitutional third term. And let's get to that so that you can see the response in the room when he announces it.
Miriam gave my campaign indirectly, 250 million. She was number one. When somebody can give you 250 million, I think that we should give her the opportunity to say hello. And Miriam, make it quick, because 250 million is not what it used to be. Okay?
Now I met Alan Dershowitz, and he said the legal thing about 4 more years. And I said, Alan, I agree with you. So we can do it. Think about it.
Alan's here someplace. Where's Alan?
Alan is here. Oh, he had a flight. Alan is here. Think about it.
Thank you.
Maybe
Well, where's Alan Dershowitz? Maybe he's off getting a massage somewhere. Anyway, so yeah, you should just do another 4 years. And hey, she gave me directly and indirectly $250 million. You see that? How he's making a mockery of the supposed, he's not giving the money to me, it's to PACs. He's saying it's indirectly being given to it. And when a person buys my ass for $250 million, we should let them say hello. And we should also let them direct American foreign policy, shouldn't we? He didn't say that part out loud, but that's obviously the subtext there. She didn't give him $250 million because she loved his winning smile. She gave it to him in exchange for promises. It's bribery. That's all it is. And it ain't due to like love of America. She literally is willing to take a big crap on our Constitution right there, saying screw the whole thing about 2 terms or whatever. This ain't about America. It ain't about the American president. It's about a different country entirely. And anyway, we can get, if we want, Sharon, to the weird things he's said about Jewish Democrats and him questioning whether they get to be Jewish if they don't agree with the war or something. The weird and crazy, filling the White House with out and out rabid anti-Semites and having dinner with Nick Fuentes and Kanye West and all that. All this stuff that if you actually cared about the religion and its people and the actual anti-Semitism would turn your stomach. But he does give them money. So I guess it's all well and good. But what do you think, Sharon?
I think it's disgusting. There's a lot of people who still talk to me about Joe Biden saying, if you don't, then you're not black, that whole thing. And Trump is doing the same thing here with the Jewish faith. And so are these other cronies and grifters. And it's really sucks because they don't give a damn about the faith. They don't care about Judaism. They don't really even care about anti-Semitism, as you said, entertaining people who are anti-Semites in the White House or Mar-a-Lago. And it's really shameful if they were capable of it, and to do it at a Hanukkah event after, by the way, I don't know if it's related, but the way he spoke about Rob Reiner on the first day of Hanukkah, murdered with his wife is sick behavior too. It's just, come on, when are people gonna wake up? Are there seriously people who don't get what's going on here? So gross.
That is a great, I did not even think of that. That is a great point. And also, when neo-Nazis were marching and saying the Jews will not replace us, Trump's like, well, I don't want to be too critical of them or anything. There's good people, chanting about how the Jews are replacing us. And oh my God, and then bringing all the people, the Tucker Carlson, all the people advancing the replacement theory, that rabidly, violently anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Forget all that stuff. He provides military aid. I guess it's all fine. It's not dangerous at all. It's all ridiculous. Anyway, let's play one more video. We'll give our quick reactions and we'll get to more news. Let's jump into this.
And I will say, if you go back 10, 12, 15 years ago at the most, the strongest lobby in Washington was the Jewish lobby. It was Israel. That's no longer true. You have to be very careful. You have a Congress in particular, which is becoming anti-Semitic. You have AOC +3. You have those people, Ilhan Omar, she hates Jewish people. And you have to be very careful because there's been a big change.
That's obviously grotesque with the way that he, again, tries to inspire hatred of Ilhan Omar for disagreeing with policy. Again, you're not allowed to disagree with policy. And there he says, hey, it used to be great. You used to have the Israel lobby, biggest lobby. Should it be? Like, I don't know. I mean, look, I don't want any of these lobbies to have the influence and the sway and the ability to spend as much as they want. I don't want big oil to be able to do it. I don't want, the pharmaceutical industry and all that. But this isn't Israel. Like I double checked actually. This is America. Shit, don't they typically pretend that AIPAC is about a wide variety of issues and lots of it has to do with America? He's not pretending that. He's saying it's for Israel. And because these damn Muslims and stuff don't want us to just do whatever, the IDF says, that's unacceptable. That's dangerous. He's saying it was good when a lobby representing the interests of a foreign country was the biggest lobby in the entire country. In a country where our elections are flooded with billions of dollars. It's not even an American interest that's the biggest, and wasn't it better when it was? And that's super strange to me. But if you're America first or whatever, how is that not the craziest thing you've ever seen from Donald Trump? You don't have a problem with that? Anyway, final thoughts, Sharon?
No, they don't. And that's what's not jiving. And I don't understand why people can't just say, listen, here's my lane. And then maybe you swerve off to the side sometimes, but this is what I believe. And so I'm going to kind of stay in this lane. When it comes to this wackadoodle guy and those surrounding him, it's all over the place. It's like they're just driving all over, crossing the center line, making a left-hand turn on red. It's just very, very disheartening, all of it.
Yeah, and let me just close by saying, it's not the Jewish lobby. Because Jewish people don't believe one thing about anything. Jewish people in America don't all believe one thing about any policy, and they damn sure don't in Israel. It's not representing Jewish people or Judaism, it's representing the right-wing government of Israel. People for whom the things they're doing have nothing to do with their religion. Benjamin Netanyahu is not checking the Torah to figure out should I bomb this hospital? Well, it does say that. No, it has nothing to do with that. He's not being Jewish in that moment any more than Pete Hegseth is being Christian when he presses a button to blow up a boat in the Caribbean or whatever. These are men making decisions that they think benefit them and their power and their money. It has nothing to do with any religion at all. And when you pretend that any of this is representing Jewish people, you are either accidentally or in a lot of cases intentionally erasing the wide diversity of views of Jewish people here in America and in Israel who very much do not all believe this. Some people in America and Israel agree with the strategy. Lots of them are protesting in the streets. Lots of them think that Benjamin Netanyahu is a goddamn criminal, both a war criminal and a traditional one, and should be rotting in prison right now. So stop pretending that AIPAC is representing them. AIPAC doesn't give a damn about those Israelis or what they want to see happen with the Palestinians or even inside of their own borders. So let's stop with the myth making. Anyway, I apologize. We went on a really long time. We went on really long on that. I'm sorry. I'm the worst. What should we do? I think that we're gonna have to move on and lighten things up with I think that I promised it, and I got a big sigh out of Sharon when I said that we were gonna do this topic. So I think it's only right that we do it. So let's jump into this. I know you've been waiting for trailer season to hit, not for Avatar, or The Boys, Stranger Things, the finale. No, it's the big pop culture moment of the winter is gonna be the Melania documentary. And at long last, the trailer is here. Take a look.
Here we go again.
You can come in. Come on in. My proudest legacy will be that of peacemaker.
Peacemaker in the fire. Beautiful. Together with like-minded leaders, we have a voice. Is it safe?
It is safe.
Everyone wants to know. So here it is. Hi, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Did you watch it?
I did not. Yeah, I will see it on the news.
Anyway, it's coming whether you like it or not, and I think most people won't. I mean, most people just are never ever gonna watch it. It's gonna get worse ratings than, I don't know, the Erica Kirk CNN or CBS town hall or whatever. But like, I'm gonna go beyond just saying I'm disinterested in it. I said this in a production meeting, that should be illegal. I don't mean like that you make a documentary about her. It's unwise, I think. It's a waste of time. No, it should be illegal that Jeff Bezos paid $40 million for a puff piece that nobody cares about. And I don't even think most MAGA people will watch. When she says in the trailer, you all ask, so you want to know, it's time. Ask what? Where you got that weird hat? What relevant question is there? Like, no, and by the way, I'm being a little bit disingenuous. There are some interesting questions. What did you think about your husband's attempt to overthrow the results of an election? What did you think about him bungling COVID? What do you think about Stormy Daniels? What do you think about E. Jean Carroll? What do you think about all of the fraud and the criminality and the constant cheating and the sexual abuse and the sexual harassment? Like, what do you make of all that? What do you think about Epstein? You hung out with him too, after all. Did you suspect the things he was doing? Did you think it's cool in hindsight that your husband was hanging out with him? Do you think it's awesome that he's covering up for Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's crimes right now? All of these, I think, are relevant questions. None of them will be in this documentary. It's gonna be her putting on fancy shoes and walking around or flying or whatever, or mostly not even being near Donald Trump. And again, it's that Jeff Bezos gets to give a $40 million bribe to the president's family by pretending that this is serious news or that anybody actually wants this. And so Sharon, can Zuckerberg give Gavin Newsom $50 million to profile his girlfriend or whatever next time? Did they find yet another loophole where the wealthiest people in America can just hand over a ton of cash to the elites in exchange for likely deregulation, laws that they like, that sort of thing, tax cuts? What do you think?
Yeah, and give them free Meta AI, the Ray-Bans too. All the Ray-Bans you want with the Meta. I just got some of those for someone I know for a certain holiday present. Listen, this is what it is. Listen, if Susie Wiles were producing this documentary, perhaps we'd learn some things like what's it like living with all the flatulence from Donald Trump. We might learn that, but we're not. I'm concerned just because at the end of the trailer, did you see what it said? In theaters or something? Do you honestly, who's gonna buy out all the theaters? Is that next? Because
Gen Z, they're gonna dress up in tuxedos and show up for Melania.
They're really gonna go there? Please, I doubt it, okay? It's gonna be like the one pardoned drug president and a couple of other friends and stylists, and that's gonna be it. Who's gonna support this thing? That's gonna be it for that.
Yeah.
It's just so gross, you're right. And that we're only like people like Bernie Sanders and progressives and AOC will say, can you stop doing this? Everybody else, the people that a lot of people support who aren't deranged, are fine with this.
Yeah.
Everyday Americans are just like either like used to it, so it's like a shoulder shrug, like, yeah, well, you know, if you can do it, if you can get it. No, it's ripping us off. It's ripping us off. It's bribery. It's really, it should be a crime. It is a crime. Okay, it's just not written into the law. There's a carve out for this kind of stuff, and it's crazy.
Yeah. I just like, can AOC just get, during her next congressional run or Senate run, can she just get $50 million from, again, like.
They went after her about that dress. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but remember the dress that was so beautiful? She looked so beautiful. And they went after her for ethics violations on the dress at the Met Gala. Come on, stop this.
Now, is this in the top 10 most corrupt acts of the Trump family this term? Probably not. No. I don't think that it did, but yeah, it's absolutely wild. And also, exclusively in theaters, it's a little vague. Let me make a guess. Maybe this is me with Trump derangement syndrome. It's gonna be in 10 theaters. Nobody's gonna show up. You seriously think MAGA people are gonna go to the theater to watch a documentary? Come on. That's like Sydney Sweeney doing the boxing biopic or whatever. It's like, I have no doubt that you cared about this woman and her life story, but like the people who like you right now are never gonna watch that. So, and also exclusively in theaters for 2 weeks. It's gonna be in 10 theaters for 2 weeks, and then it's gonna be on Amazon Prime. That's where it's gonna be. And nobody's gonna watch it there either. And maybe I'll be wrong, but I kind of doubt it. Anyway, what a goddamn massive waste of time and what a massive example of bribery. Okay, with that said, we are unfortunately out of time. Sharon, as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. I look forward to next Big News Wednesday when we wear dueling graphic tees.
And have maybe some margaritas or something if you can get it cleared with the company. That'd be great. Who knows what I'll say then. Thank you, John.
No problem. You know, they used to on the Friday show, they used to have beers. This is many years ago, but maybe we need to bring it back. Okay, everybody, that's gonna be it for the show today. Tomorrow, Michael Shore is gonna be here. We're also gonna be doing our members hangout 30 minutes after the show. So if you're a tier 3 member, definitely show up. If you'd like to become a tier 3 member, you can join up with us. We always have a lot of fun. We'll talk about the holidays and different stuff like that. Maybe I'll give a little bit more behind the scenes info about my latest round of golf with Jorby and Brett, let you know how that went. But for now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.